Well, welcome along to Snetterton in Norfolk, everybody, for the first race of 3 we've got this weekend coming up for you in the Finecut Radical Cup UK. Round 7 of the championship, the cars are already on their formation lap. This grid is based on the cloudy and damp qualification session that we had earlier on this morning, and we can guide you through the way that they will line up for our first of 3 races we've got for you this weekend. The first of 2 sprint races coming up any second now. A 25-minute race it will be under what are cloudy skies with changeable conditions we're going to have this weekend. The grid, as I say, is based on the qualification times from earlier on, and they line up as follows. Pole position goes the way of Marcus Littlewood, already 5 times a race winner so far this season, but he's joined on the front row of the grid by Paul Denning. Jack Yang is on the inside of row number 2, alongside long-time Radical racer Andy Lowe. And the third row of the grid, something like 15 years he's been racing Radicals now, John McLeod sits alongside Rachel Robertson, who grabbed her first podium of the season last time out at Brands Hatch. Row 4 of the grid is the American driver, Jake Williamson. He's got Hamish Forrest for company, who's been a regular podium visitor so far this year. And row 5 of the grid is Alex Fisher, new to Radicals this year. He's got Flamer Ricola alongside her, the granddaughter of Pentia Ricola, the late great Flying Finn. Row 6 of the grid is Jordan Delishka, the Austrian, alongside John Davis. Should be next up, but I think Rebecca Franklin has been jumped up the grid and John Davis has been pushed down a position to 13th place. And James Pinkerton will do what the head of Radical Design and Development usually does, is that he will start from the pit lane. He doesn't want to get involved in the championship battle, so he may have qualified higher up the grid, but he always opts to start from the pit lane in a car that he is developing for future iterations of Radicals. The RS3XXR is the car that largely is in the championship nowadays. Nice to see the number 51 car, Flamer Ricola. Good to see Flame back on the grid. We saw her sharing a car at Donington Park, but she wants to see how she goes on solo this weekend. So she's the granddaughter of the 1979 British Rally champion, and of course the winner of the Lombard RAC Rally in 1989, wasn't it? The wheel of a Mitsubishi Galant was her grandfather, Pentia Ricola. So, Marcus Littlewood, who starts from pole position, the black and the Dayglow orange car. He's the reigning Radical SR1 champion. He has won all bar 1 race so far this year, and that was the last race we had at Brands Hatch, the pit stop race, where he finished 2nd on that occasion. Championship returnee Shane Stoney picked up the spoils in that race, but Shane is not present with us this weekend. And nice to see that we've got Rebecca Franklin, a late addition to the entry, racing for Valor Racing. She's at the tail end of the field in the black car with the yellow stripe down the centre. So Marcus Littlewood starting on pole position, the black and the multicoloured car of Paul Denning alongside. 25 minutes on the clock under darkening skies. Off they go on a dry track for the moment, with Marcus Littlewood leading the charge up towards Ritchie's corner. He goes in through in the lead of the race. Paul Denning slots himself into 2nd place. There's contact further back, I'm afraid, and it looks as though we've got cars skittering across the grass there, one of which is going to be Flamer Ricola, the other of which is going to be Rebecca Franklin. And I think Alex Fisher also got tangled up there as well, a man who's new to Radicals for this year. Hopefully they'll all get going, but one car has got a bit of bodywork damage to it, I'm afraid, which I think was Rebecca Franklin's car. So the race continues with just those localised yellows for the moment, and it is Marcus Littlewood that leads the way as they head out of Palmer and up towards the braking area for Agostini for the first time. He is leading the way. In 2nd place is Paul Denning, 3rd place is Jack Yang, and 4th at the moment, that looked as though it was Hamish Forrest potentially. It was up into 4th place. 2 very similarly liveried cars, himself and Rachel Robertson, but Hamish has the black crash helmet and it's the yellow that is of Rachel Robertson. And yeah, you can see Rachel there is a little bit further down through the order, having qualified 6th. She's lost a couple of places in the early stages of this one because it looks as though through and past have gone a couple of cars. They head out of Williams and onto the Bentley Straight for the first time, really stretching their legs in these Radical SR3 XXRs with the 1500cc engine. And there straight away, I'm afraid, is retirement for Alex Fisher, who didn't get any further, did he, than the first corner? Or is he going to rejoin? I think he's rejoining. I think he's shortcut through the Snetterton 200 loop, and he's going to limp his car back towards the pit lane with what looks like some damage to the right rear of his car when he caught the spinning car of Flamer Ricola. So cars already about to come through and conclude their first lap of the race. Andy Lowe in the number 4 car coming under pressure from John McLeod. Those 2 drivers have had some good battles over the years, really. 5 years of racing in Radicals for Andy Lowe. John McLeod's got the best part of 15 years of racing in Radicals, and now fighting over what will be, I think, the final 2 places inside the top 6 at the moment. So Marcus Littlewood leads the way, and Paul Denning in 2nd place. Hamish Forrest up 4 places on that first lap. Really good first lap from Hamish Forrest, the former factory go-kart driver. as he sits there in 4th place. Andy Lowe 5th, fighting away with John McLeod. Rachel Robertson dropping down into 7th place, so she only lost the 1 place as it was in the end. Alex Fisher is 8th. Jordan Delishka sitting there in 9th place, and Rebecca Franklin completed the top 10 at the end of that lap, so even the cars that got tangled up all managed to get going again. I think John Davis also got tangled up on that first lap and has not subsequently been round. A broken toe link that will be, won't it, for the number 5 car, the way that it's crabbing down the road. So a couple of 5th places, the best result we've had so far this season for Alex Fisher. He's not going to better that this time because he'll be heading in towards retirement at the end of this lap. Disappointing start to the weekend for him here in Norfolk. So Marcus Littlewood doing what he's done all season. John McLeod trying to hunt down the orange car that lies ahead of him, which is going to be Andy Lowe. So these two drivers have largely been fighting over who's going to be winning the Fangio Trophy so far this year. The Fangio Trophy is a separate category, so it's the driver who is 50 years or over at the beginning of the season is eligible for the Fangio Trophy. They've largely been fighting for the lead of that, but leading it at the moment is the car that's 2nd overall, Paul Denning, because he's eligible for the Fangio Trophy and he's going beautifully well. This is Hamish Forrest there at the wheel of the number 95 car, up 4 places on the first lap, and he's giving Jack Yang a thing or two to think about as well. Jack, who we've seen out racing radicals in the past and was runner-up in the 2016 championship was Jack Yang. He finished 3rd in 2017. We've seen him racing in the Radical Cup in the US as well, North America, and in the Gulf Cup as well, but he's coming under big pressure from the car behind, and Hamish Forrest is going to pick up the toe in the slipstream. He jinks out to just show the nose of the car, but he's too far away as they head up towards Ritchie's this time, so Jack Yang hangs on to 3rd for the moment at least. Hamish Forrest in his first season of racing has shown some good pace so far this year. Has had 4 podiums throughout the course of this season, and for Hamish Forrest they've largely been 2nd places as well. Yeah, all 4 of those podiums he's taken have been 2nd places. A couple of them at Donington, a couple of them at Brands Hatch. Finished just off the podium in the last race at Brands, the pit stop race, when he finished in 4th place. And that's where he is at the moment, but looking to try and go one better in towards the braking area for Agostini. He's still too far away on Jack Yang to make a move. Andy Lowe goes through next, followed by then John McLeod, and then the number 56 car of Rachel Robertson. Hamish Forrest is not letting up on the pressure for Jack Yang. You've already had the first 5 minutes of the race, the first 2 laps already completed, and Hamish Forrest trying to carve the door open here as they head round through Williams. Jack Yang needs to be careful. If he slows his exit speed, he's in danger of losing a place, because you carry all of that momentum down the Bentley straight, and Hamish Forrest is to driver's right as far as Jack Yang is concerned. That would be the outside line for Brundle, but the inside line for Nelson, and I don't quite think he's going to make it. Jack Yang, by the skin of his teeth, still hangs on to 3rd position, but good squabble it is between the pair of them. And already, though, they're starting to squabble, and they're giving time away to Paul Denning, who is up the road in 2nd place, and they're also losing time to Andy Lowe and John McLeod, who are behind them and starting to just edge that little bit closer. They're not there yet, but another few laps of squabbling, and it may well be that it's 4 cars that are fighting over the final podium spot. So out of Murray's, Jack Yang in the white and the red and the green car, under pressure from Hamish Forrest. Starting to close in all of the time again. He'll pick up the toe, the hole in the air that's being created by the car ahead. This time he jinks out to the outside nice and early. Jack Yang just takes his normal racing line in towards Ritchie's because he knows the car behind is not close enough. It's the same for Andy Lowe. John McLeod in the Dayglow green car is just too far away to mount a challenge. And as they head in towards the braking area for the Wilson hairpin, one of the heaviest braking areas we've got on the Snetterton 300 circuit, where they really have to slow the cars down through the gears. You can see the squabble for 2nd and 3rd is most definitely on. Lap times from Jack Yang and Hamish Forrest last time through, 1:53s. They were still quicker than Andy Lowe and John McLeod behind. Even squabbling, they are not getting caught by the orange car of Andy Lowe or the Dayglow green car of John McLeod, who are next up in the order. And it's Rachel Robertson. And completing the top 8 at the moment is going to be the number 41 car that completes the top 8, which is the American driver Jake Williamson. So through Williams or Oggies, and then up towards the right-hander at Williams, they will thread their way. Jack Yang has been passed by Hamish Forrest, however, so there has been that shuffle in the order, and Hamish Forrest is already trying to escape up the road. There must have been a small mistake for Jack Yang, which allowed Hamish Forrest to pounce and go through, and now the idea for the black car with the teal flashes down it will be to try and catch Paul Denning, who continues to circulate in 2nd place overall and is still the leader of the Fangio category at this stage. fastest lap of the race last time through went to Marcus Littlewood, the reigning Radical SR4 champion. 1 minute 51.276 from him. He now leads by 5.2 seconds at this stage. So Marcus Littlewood sort of picking up really where he has left off as being the dominant driver so far this year. Exception really was Brands Hatch, where Shane Stoney, another former champion, entered the category and at least was able to give Marcus Littlewood a thing or two to think about. Now Jack Young under big pressure here. Andy Lowe's going to go through, is he? Yeah, Andy Lowe goes through and John McLeod goes through, so I think there might be problems for Jack Young potentially, because he didn't put up a huge amount of defence there, and all of a sudden his car has just lost some pace. That was 3 laps slower than his best lap so far, so maybe not all is well with Jack Young. Say the cloud cover is looking as though there might be some rain at some point on the way, but there's no choice when they came out of the assembly area to do anything other than go on a slick tyre. And Jack Young, for whatever reason, the car just doesn't seem to be doing what it was doing in the early stages of the race here for him. There's grey clouds above, but say it's surely all on the Hankook slick tyre. And Jack Young is in danger of losing a further place if he's not careful, because Rachel Robertson is starting to close up now. Former karter, did karting just from 2 or 3 years ago, first year in cars for Rachel, and has been very, very good, very quick, very consistent. And he's pushing hard here to try and squeeze her way through, a former runner-up in this championship. So out onto the Bentley straight goes Andy Lowe and John McLeod. They will now be fighting over what will be 4th and 5th position. Jack Young there in 6th place, coming under big pressure from Rachel Robertson, who is slowly edging up towards his coattails. Andy Lowe a little bit wide there, made a small mistake coming out of Nelson, and straight away John McLeod is trying to sneak his way up the inside as they're going towards the bomb hole. Andy Lowe tries to squeeze him, but John McLeod's already there, and they're going to run side by side round through Coram. That's brave stuff between the pair of them, but John McLeod finally just gets his nose ahead, and that was all to do with that one small mistake through Brundle and through Nelson from Andy Lowe, and that was all that John McLeod needed to seize the opportunity. Rachel Robertson also trying to seize the opportunity to squeeze her way through and past Jack Young on the exit of Murray's, and it looks as though she's just going to have her nose ahead, but Jack Young has the all-important inside line when they get up towards Richie's corner. Is he going to be able to hang on to the place? He is just ahead, I think, and yes, will hang on to the place, but not for want of trying as far as Rachel Robertson was concerned. She was nearly there on the exit of Murray's, but couldn't quite capitalise enough. And now that those two are squabbling, they're slowing each other up, and it's allowing Jake Williamson to begin to catch up, the American driver in the black and the white and the pink and blue machine. So all of the time our race leader pulling away, he's now nearly 9 seconds to the good, is Marcus Littlewood from Paul Denning in 2nd place. Hamish Forrest very much on his own now in 3rd place, but Hamish Forrest is actually edging up towards Paul Denning. So that could well be a battle worth watching for. The number 25 car getting caught by the 95 for 2nd and for 3rd places. John McLeod in 4th place in the white car with the Dayglow green flashes to it, which has long been the livery of John McLeod. It's always had some Dayglow green on it for the last sort of 5 years or so. Jack Young still doing a good job of trying to hang on to 5th position, 6th place I should say. Rachel Robertson looking to try and carve her way back inside the top 6, having finished on the podium last time out at Brands Hatch. She got a good exit that time coming out of Williams. Going to pick up the toe from the car behind. Is she going to be close enough? Jack Young knows she's close because he's just covering off any move that might be coming, but Rachel Robertson is through. By the time they get down towards Brundle and Nelson, she's got her nose ahead, and that's place gain for Rachel Robertson. Another place lost for Jack Young, I'm afraid, who started 3rd on the grid and is now outside of the top 6 and is in danger of losing a further place to the number 41 car in the hands of Jake Williamson. So they're just coming up towards the completion of what will be lap number 6 next time through. The squabble for 2nd and 3rd is getting ever closer, as Paul Denning is now just 3/4 of a second up the road from the charging Hamish Forrest. And there is a problem for Jack Young. I thought there might be. You'd say the car just seemed to lose pace, and it looks as though he's coming in towards the pit lane, Jack Young, and that's a shame for him because he's already had a few troubles so far this year. Into the pits he will come, the team will go to work, but hopefully they'll send him back out into the race. Now for the 2nd and 3rd place, Paul Denning has certainly been caught in the last few laps from Hamish Forrest. They're just going up towards Agostini now. The black and almost multicoloured car, isn't it, of Paul Denning, hanging on to 2nd place. The lap time he did last time through was the best lap he's done so far in this race. It was a 1 minute 52.4. but 1.3 seconds quicker was the car behind, Hamish Forrest. So the battle is certainly on now for second and for third position, and we are only just coming up to the halfway point of this race. So out of Williams, down onto the Bentley Straight they'll go. Paul Denning in second place, leading the Fangio Trophy for drivers 50 or over at the beginning of the championship season. Hamish Forrest looking to try and close in once more, so he's had plenty of podiums so far this year, 4 podiums, they've all been second place finishes, whether it be in the shorter sprint format that we've got today for you, the 25-minute races. He's also finished second in one of the pit stop races, that was the 50-minute encounter at Donington Park for round 3 of the championship. Last time out at France he finished second in the 2 sprint races and finished just off the podium in the pit stop race. And at the moment he would love to try and grab another second place if he can to keep him in the championship and the title hunt. 40 points for a race win in the shorter format races, 35 for second, 30 for third, which is what he's on at the moment, but he's got a good toe this time on Paul Denning. He's done all of the hard work of catching, now he's got the even more difficult task of trying to squeeze his way through somewhere. There's nothing doing as they head round through Ritchie's that occasion. Up towards the braking area for Wilson offers up a possibility, but he's just too far behind again as he heads onto the brakes and flicks his way through the right-hander. And then they'll start to build the speeds again up the short straight. It's very slightly uphill towards Palmer, where the circuit just slightly drops away on the exit, and then it rises up over a very small crest again before it drops again as you head in towards the braking area for Agostini. There's not much variation in altitude on this track. It's a former airfield base, US airfield base, back from the Second World War. It only varies 9 metres in terms of elevation from one end of the track to the other. So it's a fairly flat track, but it is open to a little bit of breeze. Thankfully today, even though we've got poor weather on occasions, there's not too much breeze. It's sort of a tailwind as you head down the Bentley Straight. So get to this point here and then they'll get the tailwind, pushing them all the way down the Bentley Straight. Hamish looking to try and get a good run out of Williams and onto the Bentley Straight. Hamish Forrest to try and close onto the coattails of Paul Denning. They've got some traffic up the road that they need to deal with before too much longer, which will be Rebecca Franklin, I think that is it? Who is going to be the first of those that they'll catch. And as they then work their way out of Brundle and Nelson, where are they going to meet the traffic? Because this could be critical for Paul Denning to try and hang on to second place up towards Corham. And then it looks as though the back marker traffic moves out of the way. That's actually John Davis, actually, isn't it? The back marker who moves out of harm's way and will get going. So over the start-finish line, another lap chalked into the book. And Paul Denning still hanging on to second position as they come through. So through they come over the start-finish line. And then up towards the braking area for Ritchie's corner. Paul Denning still clinging on to second place. Hamish Forrest, to say, he was way behind. He did all the hard work of closing the gap. But now Paul Denning is not going to be easy to get through and past. It's his first weekend of racing in the 2025 Finecut Radical Cup UK. And good to see Paul Denning out. And has shown some good pace. He qualified second quickest. Yes, he was somewhere away from the pole time of Marcus Littlewood, but it was really difficult conditions. Just damp and cloudy. Well, it's cloudy still, but it's dry here now, so in the tricky conditions, Marcus Littlewood was absolutely the class of the field. He was 1 minute 50.2 in terms of his qualification pace. No one else was really anywhere near him. 1 minute 54 was Paul Denning's qualification time, so it was a huge pole margin for Marcus Littlewood, hence why he's got a huge advantage now. It's 14.5 seconds that he leads by at this stage. Paul Denning moving around. He knows for sure that it's going to be under pressure from Hamish Forrest as they come down the Bentley Straight. Has he got enough of his nose ahead as they head in towards Brundle and Nelson? No, Hamish Forrest nips through at Brundle, gets the job done by Nelson, and it is now Hamish Forrest who's back up into what for him is a familiar second place. Paul Denning drops down into third, and then fourth is going to be John McLeod. There's the lap car just going through now, number 22 of Rebecca Franklin. John McLeod is in fourth, but only just. Rachel Robertson is now keeping him very honest indeed. So they've dispensed with Andy Lowe, who's fallen down to seventh actually now, Andy Lowe. So John McLeod having gone through, Rachel Robertson having gone through, the American Jake Williamson having gone through as well. So Andy Lowe dropping down through the order. Andy, who had an unfortunate accident in was it the pit stop race at Brands Hatch, if memory serves me correctly. So over the start-finish line they'll come. John McLeod in 4th, Rachel Robertson in 5th, trying to hunt him down as they head up to the latter sections of the Senna Straight, and then pick their way in towards the fast right-hander. Very fast corner is Ritchie's, particularly in these radical SR3s. Rachel Robertson trying to unlock the door on the inside, going down in towards the Welson hairpin, but Andy McLeod utilising all of his experience just to make sure he covers that one off. So there's no gap for Rachel Robertson to squeeze her way through. So the Scotswoman just remains behind Andy Lowe. And we'll have to try and work out another opportunity to try and work her way through. Andy finished 3rd in this championship last year, so he's been a regular in it for the past decade and a half. So he knows all of the tricks in the book. He knows the Radical brand superbly well, and he's doing a good job of trying to keep Rachel Robertson, new to the Radical Championship, behind at this stage as they flick their way through the kink at Hamilton up towards Oggies. You can see now that they're squabbling. Jake Williamson is just edging in the number 41 car, ever closer to them, just keeps chipping away. It might only be a 1/10 of a second per sector, but he's getting there. The last lap from Williamson last time through was a woman at 54.3. They were doing 55s and 56s ahead of them. And there's also now traffic to deal with as well, which is going to be Rebecca Frankland. So John McLeod will want to clear this traffic as soon as possible, otherwise that puts him under pressure from Rachel Robertson, who's going to squeeze her way through this time at Brundle and at Nelson just before they get to the back marker traffic. There's no opportunity for Jake Williamson to squeeze through whilst the door is open. They deal with the traffic on the approach up towards Coram, so Rachel Robertson nips through, John McLeod nips through, Jake Williamson nips through. Good driving from Rebecca Franklin to see them coming and move out of harm's way. Looks as though the skies are darkening overhead as well, so there could possibly be a few little sprinkles of rain maybe in the next couple of minutes, the way that the weather has been moving in and out in Snetterton today. There's still some blue sky in there, but it's the big dark cloud that's above us at the moment that's looking slightly daunting. Up towards Ritchie's they'll go again. That's 10 laps now completed, 5 minutes to go. And Rachel Robertson, since getting past John McLeod, has pulled away quite significantly. You see her just edging up the road. John McLeod now falling away and dropping under this constant pressure from Jake Williamson. So their fight 5th and 6th is most definitely on. And I wouldn't still rule out that we might have another change back in the order for 2nd and for 3rd place, because Paul Denning is not done with trying to re-attack Hamish Forrest, who he lost out to a couple of laps ago. He's still in his 2nd between those two. Not quite as close as this little battle though, just heading round to Agostini now. John McLeod just making sure that he doesn't make a mistake, any small mistake at all, and Jake Williamson will be through. Up towards the braking area for Oggies. Turn their way in towards the right-hander, the American driver joining the championship for this weekend, Jake Williamson. Good to see him out, no doubt his first visit to Snetterton. As he then accelerates his way onto the Bentley Straight, he'll pick up a bit of the tow from the car ahead, but he's still not going to be close enough by the time they get down towards the bottom section of the Bentley Straight. So it's still Rachel Robertson, John McLeod and Jake Williamson in 4th, 5th and 6th respectively. James Pinkerton now from the pit lane start in the development car is up into 7th place. Andy Lowe has now dropped down into 8th place. 9th place is going to be Jordan Dulishka, and it's going to be Flamer Ricola who'll complete the top 10 currently at the wheel of the number 51 car. So this is lap number 12 that will shortly be completing. John McLeod onto the brakes, turning in towards a left-hander at Murray's, keeping the car within the confines of the circuit, trying to get on the power as soon as he can to carry as much momentum all the way down the Senna Straight as is possible. And as they go through and over the start-finish line, we've got less than 4 minutes now remaining in this race. And John McLeod has had a busy old run in the early stages, attacking Andy Lowe for the lead of the race. In the latter stages, having to defend from the car that's putting him under intense pressure, which is Jake Williamson. But as close as Jake has got, he's never really had a true overtaking opportunity to try and squeeze his way through. Just needs to edge up another 3 or 4 car lengths and really apply the pressure to John McLeod, because then that could be a catalyst for a bit of change in him being able to wiggle his way through somewhere. Now up towards the braking area for Agostini they will go. Rachel Robertson in the meantime just up the road has a little bit of traffic to deal with, which is going to be a car that she'll be able to work her way through and pass without too much of an issue. So that traffic has now been dealt with. which is John Davis, with the black car with the gold flashes to it. And there's problems for Paul Denning. Paul Denning slowing out on circuit all of a sudden, so something's happened to the second place car. He was slow on the last lap, Paul Denning, about 5 seconds slower than his previous best, but something has happened there to Paul Denning, struggling with the car, which means that Hamish Forrest is well on his own now in second position. The back marker traffic coming into play as well as John McLeod squeezes his way past John Davis. John Davis then doesn't exactly do huge amounts of favours to Jake Williamson, but it's just, you know, John has to turn into the corner somewhere. He chops across the nose also as they head round through the bomb hole. I'm sure John Davis will get picked off by Jake Williamson as they head, no doubt, around through Coram. At the moment, that's just allowed John McLeod to escape a little bit up the road. Unless Jake Williamson can work his way through and past here, he might get caught by James Pinkerton, because James Pinkerton is beginning to close up at the wheel of the development car, that being the number 99 car in the hands of the man who's head of design and development for Radical Sports Cars in Peterborough. So through goes Jake Williamson, eventually squeezing his way through and past John Davis. It took a while for him to work his way through, but I think that was more than anything of that, you know, John just driving his lines. It's up to the quicker cars to fight their way through, and I think Jake Williamson, it being his first trip towards Snetterton, was just cautious in dealing with that traffic. So yes, time lost, but car's still in one piece and still learning the track. Marcus Littlewood in the meantime continues to lead by 12.4 seconds now, and he'll be shortly starting his last lap of the race. So there's only one round he hasn't won so far this season, and that was the last race that we had, the pit stop race at Brands Hatch, where Shane Stoney claimed the win in his first weekend of racing, having returned to the championship. Onto the brakes, turns his way in towards the left-hander at Murray's, and with about 45 seconds to go by the time he gets over the start-finish line, he will now be onto his last lap of the race. So over the start-finish line, onto what for him will be lap number 14, and he's done all of the hard work in the early stages to build the advantage, and can just control the pace from the front. Doesn't need to overdrive the car, just focus his efforts on maintaining the gap. And even the last few laps he's done, he's eased his pace a little bit. Problems for Andy Lowe. Now, is that recovering from a spin, or is that a problem for the number 4 car? No, it's a problem for the number 4 car, who is looking as though he's going to stop out on circuit somewhere. So the car faltering on him for some reason, and looks as though there's also some moisture on the track at that part as well. So I did say there might be a few spits of rain arriving, and I think absolutely, yes, there's a few bits of rain just coming in to the air. James Pinkerton came into the pits, I think because he was catching the pack, and is now on another out lap, so I think he just came in just to separate himself from the main championship contenders. But for Marcus Littlewood, yes, he's eased his pace the last few laps, some of that controlling the gap, but some of it also deterioration in the conditions. And for poor old Andy Lowe, I don't think he's even going to see the checkered flag, because onto the Bentley Straight for the final time goes Marcus Littlewood, just working his way down to the bottom section of the Bentley Straight. He's got nice clear tarmac ahead of him. He's got nobody else to worry about at this part of the circuit, and it's at this part of the circuit where it looks fairly dry. It's the other end up towards Ritchie's and the Wilson Hairpin and Palmer, which is where the rain's blowing in from in reality. That's the angle it's coming in from. I think that's where the circuit is slightly damper. But up towards Coram for the final time comes our race leader. So through the never-ending right-hander at Coram, just taking his time. He's eased the pace quite substantively again on this lap, and as he heads in towards the braking area for Murray's, it looks as though it's going to be 6 wins out of a possible 7 in 2025 in the Finecut Radical Cup UK Championship. Marcus Littlewood, the reigning SR1 champion, comes over the start-finish line and is going to pick up another win in 2025, giving him another haul of 40 points for the race win. He'll have picked up the extra point for pole position, and at the moment he's also going to pick up the extra championship point for the fastest lap. Hamish Forrest comes through to finish in 2nd position. 3rd place should go the way of Rachel Robertson, but through in the meantime a lap adrift comes Flame Ricola. She'll finish just outside of the top 6 in 7th place at the wheel of the number 51 car. She's the 3rd of the cars to take the checkered flag, as I say, is a lap off the lead. And then we need to await the arrival of the next of the cars through, which will be Rachel Robertson. So James Pinkerton, who's just coming through Murray's now, he called into the pits briefly and came back out again. And so he's not scoring championship points. And there's a problem, and that is, now, is that John Davis or is that Rebecca Franklin? Difficult to tell from that angle because both cars look fairly similar. I think it might have been Rebecca Franklin. Here comes Rachel Robertson up towards the checkered flag. She'll finish in 3rd position, 4th place, and the win in the Fangio Trophy will go the way of John McLeod yet again. So I think that's his 6th win in the Fangio Cup so far this year. Next through will be the hard-charging Jake Williamson, who will finish in 5th place. 6th place should go the way of Jordan Delishka. And then just going up now to take the checkered flag will be John Davis, who's going to finish, I think, about 5 laps off the lead with, I think it was a late start in the race from him or a call into the pits with some problems. But the weather really did close in the final stages of that one. It is now raining out there. You can see the safety car in the pit lane with its windscreen wipers on, so that's why all the times were dipping as drivers were really struggling on the control Hankook slick tyres that they all run to try and maintain some tyre temperature and try and seek out where the grip was. But for Marcus Littlewood, he mastered the conditions. He's been pretty much mastering any conditions that we've got, but look at the rain now. It's absolutely bucketing down through the bomb hole and through Coram. So I think the checkered flag came absolutely at the opportune time in the Radical Cup UK, the Finecut Radical Cup UK, to give it its full title, because we just got through that race before the heavens opened. Otherwise that would have made things rather tricky for the drivers. I think there's still maybe one driver to take the checkered flag. I think Rebecca Franklin, having had a small spin, still is just coming through the final sector now at a very slow pace as well. But she will be classified, I'm sure, in 9th position. And for poor old Andy Lowe, he's still stricken out on circuit there. The race director opting just to cover his car with localised yellows because it was in a, not a safe place, but it was towards the edge of the track and it was the final lap. So by throwing a safety car, it wouldn't have altered the outcome anyway. So they just left him here for that lap and covered him with localised yellows, and our marshals will go to work. Let's confirm some results for you then for round 7 of the 2025 Finecut Radical Cup UK. It's a win for Marcus Littlewood, his 6th of the season, and Hamish Forrest finished in 2nd position for the 5th time so far this year. Rachel Robertson back on the podium, 2 races on the trot, finishes in 3rd place, and John McLeod picks up top honours in the Fangio Trophy, finishing in 4th position. Jake Williamson finishes in 5th place, and Jordan Delishka finishes inside the top 6 on her first outing in the Radical Cup. Flamer Riccolo was 7th, James Pinkerton from the pit lane start 8th place, Andy Lowe stricken out on circuit finished 9th, and Rebecca Franklin will complete the top 10. As we head outside of the top 10, there were problems for Paul Denning, who was going really well but had to come into the pit lane. John Davis struggled with a few issues. Jack Yang had pace but dropped down through the order early on with some problems, and Alex Fisher had problems at the very first corner, broke a toe link, tried to limp the car back but couldn't get back to the pit lane, I'm afraid. So that's it. That's our 7th round of the Finecut Radical UK Cup. We'll have more racing to come tomorrow from these cars. Our first sprint race of the day tomorrow, the 2nd of 3 races we've got this weekend, will be with you at around about 10:45 tomorrow morning for the next race of the 2025 season. So from everybody here at Snetterton and the Finecut Radical UK Cup, thanks for joining us today. We'll see you tomorrow.